Okay, it's May 17th, 24, and we haven't added any items to consider too much, but we have just briefly to note that I'll meet with Luke about lens materials next week, and then we'll update next time, and then we can also work a little more on the workshop. Are there any other topics that we should go to?
Presumably the conference.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
there anything other than, I mean, there's what we'll do at the conference. Are there any other, like the schedule or any other information available? Let's see.
Yeah, since you'd mentioned the possibility of like a one overnight with somebody that's doesn't have enough housing, my wife actually asked, well, is it possible that there might be a girls' room with a shortage so that the both of us can come in a day early? So you can ask around.
On the Friday night? I mean,
Yes, yeah.
you could have a regular, you could take one of our rooms.
Oh, great. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to pay you later because we're like exactly break even to eat and house ourselves. But yeah, we'll catch up with you on that.
I only accept epistemic payments.
Oh, PIKs.
Uh, okay, doesn't look like there's any, like the schedule is up yet. I haven't heard anything. George has the SIG / your preparation for the talk.
I think there is more conference information in the monthly newsletter that comes out at the beginning of the month. I had asked a question about a parallel conference around archetypes, and there was suddenly information appeared in the newsletter. Don't know if it's relevant for us, but that does seem to be one of their avenues of communication.
Okay, let's look at our workshop and just develop it a little bit. Or George, is there anything you want to?
No, I don't have anything in particular. My attention is being devoted now to the lecture that I'm supposed to give. So that's where my energies are going to go, such as they are.
Hmm.
Hey, who's that handsome dude?
What's in the background?
Oh, that was my lab at UWT. Believe it or not, I still have that shirt.
You should wear it.
Yeah, that might be good. Well, let me ask advice here. I was going to ask around a little bit. In honor of von Bertalanffy, there's a couple of things. Should I wear a tie?
Mm.
And the other is, if anybody knows German, is it or normal to include the von when referring to someone with a von in their name in a formal setting like this?
At least the first time. It's respectful.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was concerned about. Is the and I was once introduced by a German I can't remember when it was, way back when in San Diego at a conference, I was introduced as Air Doctor Professor Mobus. I wasn't even a professor at that time, but he was really quite formal. Anyway, I was just wondering.
Huh.
Now, Professor Umpleby will be there. Yeah, good, good. He's quite an expositor of the work of Pask and Glanville. So this is very nice.
This link doesn't work. The hyperlink. The hyperlink. I'll just quickly in another window just update admin.
I think tomorrow's mini symposium is on the OpenGov hub.
Like
At
it's about
Washington?
that place itself.
Yes. So they're going to be discussing, or someone's going to be presenting on it.
Like just learning about that place.
Presume so.
Okay, yeah, sounds interesting.
Tony Rodriguez, the director of OpenGov Hub, Introduction to OpenGov Hub, the venue for the ISSS conference in June. I'll explain the thinking about OpenGov Hub and how it came about and what its goals are. I'll speak about how it's organized and what it achieves. Lastly, because the conference theme is influence and responsibility, I'll discuss our collective responsibility in our sphere of influence. So there was an email about that. Taking place tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, it sounds worth sitting in on, but I made the last one last week at 7 a.m. and I had to move heaven and earth to get there. And I don't know if I can do that again. It's hard enough to get here at 9 o'clock.
I presume it's going to be recorded, so it might be available then.
I'll definitely watch that one. Okay, let's see where we're at. We have today, then 24 and 31. Possibly meeting on June 7th. I mean, likely. And then we're heading to DC the following day there. So we have several sessions to develop what we want. I think it's more than enough time. Again, I don't really know the context super well to understand what format or anything should be. Oh, Carl H sent some abstracts that he submitted. I haven't seen any other abstracts though.
Did he say what section he had submitted them for?
I'll look. No. No. I mean, I hope they'll be accepted slash he'll share more. But well, I mean, a theme was about one of the themes how to make the proceedings at the conference lasting and durable, and what we actually want to turn towards in the work. I mean, in this group and in the broader efforts, I won't be the VP education. I think somebody else was just confirmed in that vote a few days ago. Or at least I did vote to confirm them. So I mean that, to what extent do we go in with just a canvas to see how to proceed? $644 views on this document over the whole time. Hey, Randall.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
Oh, all good. How goes it?
Good, good. Thank you.
Um, Also, just to the systems modeling plus active inference plus RX infer, I'll put it in the chat. This was yesterday. Wouter presented on the RX environments package. He's a PhD student in the bias lab working on the RX infer environment. And this was super fascinating because, like, on one hand, as a low bar, it's a wrapper and a templating for the environment of RX infer simulations. But then it turns out, in order to do that and leverage that in generality, you end up with something more like a communications and accounting protocol for reactive ecosystems of shared intelligence. And it looks super good for RX infer.
Say that again, reactive.
So it uses the reactive message passing paradigm.
Yeah.
In almost all, like in almost all reinforcement learning, simulation, et cetera, you have a step function. The environment is defined in terms of a step, and the step, every time step needs to take in action. So then you get control policy vectors that have like, you could move up, down, left, right, or stay. So you end up with like a null action, or you do a nested control model. Okay, no action or action. And then within action, you have up, down, left, right. Because the semantics of the environment require you to take an action every time step. So then the question is, okay, well, there's a metronome clicking you at requesting actions, providing you observations, and then you need to decide which policy at the metronome's beep. Versus in the reactive message passing paradigm, we're declaring the whole Bayes graph. Then, and this is only accessible in the today in the Julia implementation, you can have different nodes in that Bayes graph getting pinged at different frequencies. So you have two sensors, and one of them is getting 100 signals per second and updating with this way, and one of them is getting just 1 per second. But you don't need to clock the model to either of those speeds. So you can have like 3 observations coming in irregularly, and then you could have actions being dispatched irregularly. So it opens up this whole question of not just which action, but when to send and how to update action, and the timing of the updating, rather than just needing every time step to require action selection. So that, yeah.
Cool.
Right now, Randall, also we're just chilling / doing a little bit of sketching on the workshop for a now less than a month away.
Yes, right. Yeah, so for what it's worth, I submitted an abstract for paper I'm working on.
What was it about, or like, what about it?
So I'm calling it just kind of a high level over, kind of an approach to naturalizing epistemology or system of this epistemology. I'm pulling together the idea of reactive networks, free energy principle, and the idea of Uxkall's Umwelt. Yeah, it's a long story, but I think it'll be interesting.
Randall, which section or which session did you submit that for?
In the philosophy section.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So they're going to have, there was another paper that got recommended for the philosophy, but I don't think David Rousseau is going to make it. So I don't know who's going to manage that session, but but that's good. There will be several papers in that session. It's good.
Great.
Now I just hope it doesn't conflict time-wise with the GST session.
Are there parallel sessions?
You know, it hasn't been determined yet, but I would, if many of the SIGs have sessions, there's almost going to have to be. Yeah, this one's being planned very differently than conferences in the past. I must confess, I'm at a loss to know exactly what to expect.
Yeah.
Expect the unexpected.
I know where I'll be. If there is a conflict, hopefully there isn't.
Okay. Just clean this page up a little bit, just so that we can think about what sections we need. Okay, at the high level, we're gonna, I mean, on our side, just working here, we'll prepare this documents. It'll have some pieces already in play, some different resources already linked, and then we'll basically open it up and make it fully editable for that time. And then following the session, we can drop it back down to comment only, and then people could request access if they were at the session for further editing, or we could just freeze and just footnote that piece. But so we'll show up with a scaffold, have a session, question mark, question mark, question mark. Then including in one of the sections, have like a table for like name, email, ORCID ID. And then we'll do like the last like 15 minutes or something. We'll just quickly loop it into as an auto publication. Everybody who wants to publish can be an author. Just to reflect some different ways of publishing. But how should we I think it's 90 minutes long. I mean, so how do we want to prepare these spaces? We'll make the sub pages under here, and then we'll just copy the sub pages out.
You want me to take a crack at that first one? The
Yeah.
theoretical? Okay.
What do you think? Or I mean, you don't need to type a response, but if you have thoughts, go for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is a relationship, given that we don't necessarily have the GST, but the notion, I mean, this will tie into my talk because I'm going to be talking about systemness as opposed to systems theory, or a theory of systemness as opposed to a general systems theory. Anyway, but for me, the way I guess I would interpret that is that knowledge has to be structured. This is what we kind of said before. Knowledge, to be knowledge, you have to have structures that are accessible and indexable, so that you can relate various concepts to other various concepts. And then the question of education is, how do those get transferred? And there I would invoke some of the theoretical work that some of the neurolinguists have well, I'm not thinking all that clearly right now, but basically give me a couple of days and I'll throw something together and send it to you. There is a linkage. Rob, do you have any ideas about that? You're muted. Oh, there
Sorry, I was on my laptop is very slow. So I was having trouble getting back to it. I think I'm also not well formed, but just like Bertalanffy has a Weltanschauung for worldview in our minds, I'm thinking we also need a worldview or world building in the world of body of knowledge, not only from cognitive structures but shared knowledge as well, and dialogue, agreed terms, epistemological structures. So in some sense, I see the body of knowledge also as a Weltanschauung, trying to reflect what's going on in the world, or an understanding or conglomerate of what's going on in the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So roughly speaking, I think the basic concept is that we need to think of knowledge as a system. And so if we have a general idea of what it means to be a system, so I have to work that out. But Bertalanffy had something to say about education. He's got a section which I can't figure it out. Anyway,
well, another systems model is DIKW, that dimension, data, information, knowledge, wisdom, and I would place the level of models at the level of knowledge. So it's very much that world of knowledge as a systems related environment.
Anyway, Bertalanffy's section is called General System Theory in Education, the Production of Scientific Generalists. The book chapter I'm working on addresses that. So I'll reread that section and see if there's any great inspirational things we can take from it. Rob, why don't you jot down a few notes about the kind of thing you were just talking about? And
I'll try and put something together.
Yeah. Maybe we could do.
I think Len Troncali as well. He did a several year research initiative, ISGE, in systems general education. I think it was a big theme and funding theme back at that time, to produce a foundation of general systems related knowledge of course, lens flavor was SPT based, but it was, I think, from what we found in the office, it was trialed a few times, a few universities, including Cal Poly. So that's a fascinating body of knowledge there. I'm sure it's been written up in the ISSS archive somewhere.
Well, I personally, I probably won't be doing a lot of research to work on this. I'm going to go with what I sort of have already in place. But
Okay, so I'm thinking, Star, just say hello. Just say we've been doing this for however long it's been. And this is kind of capstoning this chapter for us. Then we'll describe modes of participation. So if you just want to type in, the Zoom chat, that's fine. If you want to be actively editing the document, that's the most direct and helpful. If you want to use linear synchronous time, also you are welcome. And we'll be trying to balance these different modes of contribution. Then we'll turn to the questions. And we could do, again, I don't know how many people or how it'll be set out, but we can start to build, just get different thoughts on these different questions. And people can also add questions. Okay. So maybe. Okay. Just to get it going with actively adding. So now we've only used 20 minutes. How should we proceed? We could focus on
Did you want to list some of the more substantial projects that have been undertaken in the last or covered in the last 2 or 3 years?
okay, so maybe a little bit more in the beginning. Maybe a little in the beginning, summarizing a few of the directions that we went on, including the we can reflect each of these.
I mean, it's covered a bit in the abstract. Systems language. I don't know if we ever got very far with taxonomies of terms, but I think we did discuss it in a few sessions.
Oh,
Don't know
yeah,
how-
system XML.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll just give a little more information.
Certainly, if it's a capstone, then I think we should laud the some of the work that's been done. And I suppose also this coda as a repository. A lot of video recordings, a lot of notes, project interest. AI should be in there somewhere. I did wonder whether you'd want to do a demo. That's another option for the meeting or the workshop if you wanted to do an AI component.
Yeah. One possibility would be like, I mean, there's of course different like taxonomies we could even approach this from, but like, okay, so we've gotten a bunch out on the table with the driving questions. Now we're gonna rotate through like 3 facets of this. We're gonna like explore like one more educational element, like what's something that you teach or learn or struggle or succeed to teach or learn in. Then in the knowledge engineering side, what is something that you succeed or struggle in organizing and curating? And then and then use like a synthetic intelligence or something and just say how are you seeing things being used or not? What directions do you see and questions do you have about how we can use systems and AI? Like just focus on those 3 sections. Or maybe have one main section on education, one main section on knowledge engineering, or different order or something. And then just these are and here's how and then weaving systems and tools throughout.
This is classed as a workshop. So you've got a section here on publishing. What's the intention of any deliverables coming out of this session?
Make it a milestone. say, like, we're doing this right now. If you want to be on this train and just leave this mark, this is how fast we can make open source artifacts. And then if you wanted to start doing these kinds, if you want to download Miro boards and download things and just start doing open source publishing, here's a starting point for how to do it. And if you have further thoughts on where we go from here or other ways to do publishing, also that is the starting point for that discussion.
So maybe just to clarify, I think you said something about stepping down from the VP role.
Correct. That will
so
not be that role.
Right. So are these sessions continuing on after the conference?
I think we can. I'm down to do it. This was never part of my
What we can
board role.
do, Daniel, you might coordinate with whoever the new VP education is. But what we can do is form a working group to continue this work, and you know, it would be it behoove us to coordinate with the VP, whoever it is. You know, I just recall something. I don't remember seeing who all the candidates were for the various positions. Did you guys
I got an email with a voting code, and it took me to 3 candidates.
But it was like a confirmation. It wasn't a vote.
Yeah, there was their bio information aspect. No, I thought there was some voting aspect to it.
Let's see if that link. Okay. Okay, I already voted. I can't vote again. I think there was 3. It might have been 3 unopposed positions.
It was Yanis for a president-elect, Jennifer for VP Research and Publications, and Clifford Whitcomb for VP Education.
Yeah, Clifford is who we'll want to work with. Yeah, after this, I mean, I'm not over planning it, because we don't know what will happen then. But yeah, let's keep working, and then with Rob on the SCA/Len side, I'm gonna continue that. George, anything related to GST, Systemese, language, XML, formal modeling, connections with FEP, anything on that side. Dave and I will continue working on Sumo, Active, Spatial Web, etc. I mean, we've kind of just always made the informal space for people to bring specific engagements in. I think we can continue doing that, and it may also benefit a lot by having a slightly more like organizationally integrated education VP to help us to align what we're doing with what their vision is for systems education.
I just wanted to clarify whether we were doing a capstone or a milestone now.
Yes, this is our master's thesis.
Onward and upwards then.
Yeah.
Well, in that vein, then I guess toward the end we should identify key things that we think need yet to be done, the research that needs to be done to verify the thesis or whatever.
Yes. In a pre/post GST Bayesian epistemology, how will we proceed in this work? Yeah, it's making me have many funny thoughts of what we could do. Again, though, I just really have a blank spot for what it'll be. Because I don't know the conference or anything. But I think with the sort of intro, warm up and break out in small groups, just say work in pairs and just take down the notes and put them in the coda, put them in a chat, or just let's, just meet a few people, get some ideas going. Then let's focus on this twin, inextricable, permanent situation between education and knowledge engineering. Then let's leave some pheromones, publish it, and then just put that completely behind us and continue on. Okay, let us return to this next week.
So just a quick one. So the publication, there is, what's the proposed publication route?
We'll just put it up on Zenodo. I'll link, I'll put it in the chat just if you want to. This is where we do many of our publications. It's just instant DOI. So there's no gate, whereas archive, etc., there's like a review period and you have to have a format, be endorsed, etc. But Zenodo, operated by CERN, and you just upload it and it's just instantly available. So that's fun.
Do they have a systems category?
It's not really categorized, but we can make a community, like we have an active inference community on, but it doesn't mean anything really. But it could, if there were papers and norms, then you could link people to the category. But so we could explore. Okay. Thank you all.
Yep. Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Thanks.